So thank you for your time this morning. So just a quick introduction to me. So my name is Richard McKeown. I work with WSI, which stands for We Simplify the Internet. Um, so I've worked in international marketing here and in the States for the last 25 years. I'm a certified digital and now I'm a certified AI consultant as well. Uh, Prior to this, I worked with Dow Jones and the Wall Street Journal in the States. And I also headed up Tesco's local marketing team for about 10 years. So that's enough about me. So we'll jump into this morning's presentation. So just before we start, I'm just going to have a bit of a closer look at AI and how you can use it. And then we're actually going to go into some use cases on how to use it to try and help you grow your business. That's the first topic, and then to try and help you save time. So I'm going to jump in and out between this and ChatGPT just so everyone can see it. But just before we get into my charts, I was just going to ask a couple of questions. I just want to get a feel for what everyone's um AI usage is and um how often they use it. So if you could just answer these questions, I'll just give it 10 or 15 questions. So it's literally, I'm using AI weekly, daily, less than once a week, just to try and give me a feel. So, okay, we've got 7 there so far. So we've got most people. So I'll give it another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So info. So that's interesting. So can you see the results there, Kieran? Are they coming up on the screen?
Yes, they're coming up on the screen,
Yeah,
Richard.
yeah.
Yeah.
So most people are using it daily, which is good, 71%. One person's using it weekly and one person is using it less often. So that's good. It just shows uh, how ingrained it's become in everyone's day-to-day usage.
Oh,
So,
come on.
oh, hang on. Um, I'm just going to launch the next one. So I'm using it AI. I'm using AI at work with free accounts, paid accounts. So you're paying for, either 20 or 100 or 200 euros, depending, or I'm not using AI at work at all. Okay, so I'll give that another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So most people are actually using free accounts, which is fine. And actually, on a lot of accounts, you get most of the stuff that you need. And 2 people are using paid accounts. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, sorry. What's the next question? Yeah, ignore that. Sorry. Sorry, I'm just letting 2 other people into the meeting. Person. Okay, welcome everyone who's joining. We're just doing 1 or 2 quick uh quizzes there. Just so most people are using it, and most people are using free accounts, so that's fine. So just before we go in, I just want to, kind of have a quick overview of what AI is. I'm not going to get into the weeds, but this is my wording. So AI means making computer systems smart so that they can try and do things like humans, such as seeing, talking, deciding, and understanding words. So, it's really come on in the last 3 years since ChatGPT was first developed. Um, and the other thing is it can learn from information, and the more that we tell it and share with it, it can make better choices and help people. So it's actually become really powerful. You do need to remember though, it can be wrong. So you always need to keep a human in the loop. You need to make sure that you read everything and check everything just to make sure that there's no bias or that the AI hasn't been hallucinating. So kind of the AI landscape. So who's leading the charge? So ChatGPT tends to be the one that most people are using. And in ChatGPT, there's other things like DALL-E and Sora, which you can use for videos and image creation. Um, the other one that a lot of people are using, and some people are using without even realizing it, is Google, particularly Gemini. And they also have a version called Notebook LM, which is very good for uploading documents to, whereby it'll actually kind of make a mini podcast out of it. So if you've got a big document or big report that you don't fancy reading and you prefer listening to podcasts, you can do that. The other one that people tend to be using is Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, and then there's some others like DeepSeek, which launched last year, Claude, Meta Llama, and there's different other ones, but the main ones seem to be ChatGPT. So I'm just going to launch another poll. So this one is just on which ones everyone here is using. So we're using ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Copilot, Meta, or another one. So are you seeing that poll, Karen? Oh, sorry, it hasn't launched, has it?
I think I got the previous question, Richard. I'll be honest about asking whether it was free or paid AI.
Oh, okay. So question three. Oh, I hadn't ended. Okay, let me do this one. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can see that.
That's it, yeah, perfect.
Okay, so we'll end that one in five, four, three, two, one. So 88% of people are using ChatGPT, 13% are using Perplexity. So that's kind of what I expected. That's good actually, because a lot of what I'm gonna focus in on today is ChatGPT. So what's possible with AI? So obviously you can do text-based searches. So, chat, Claude, all those. You can develop images. You can do videos using DALL-E, Midjourney, Firefly. There's lots of different bits and pieces that you can use there. You can actually do speech synthesis. So there's some people who have actually trained AI to answer their phones. So people in doctor surgeries, dentist surgeries, stuff where it's very formatted, whereby you can actually have AI answer the phone and it'll book an appointment and send you an email and do all the bits and pieces that you need to do. It's been used a lot in coding, so it's been used a lot by developers who are writing code. Um, and there's, research saying that, you can replace five coders with one. I don't know if it's that efficient, but I've definitely talked to coders and website developers who, think that it's improved their productivity by 50%. And then you can actually create music with Music LM, which, if you want to create a jingle for your brand, or you're doing something for an ad and you want to try and generate it, you can actually go in and use Google Music LM, and that can help you. So there's tons and tons of different tools, but they're the main ones. So like we've been using AI every day, and I know most people said they're using it every day on work, but like, for years, YouTube's been suggesting videos, Gmail's been finishing sentences, Amazon trying to predict your next purchases, Netflix what to watch, Google Maps, it's involved in driving cars and stopping cars and all kinds of different bits and pieces today. So it's really come on. Um so it's interesting actually. So this group actually probably mirrors what's generally going on. So ChatGPT is the most popular kind of AI source at the moment. So these numbers are probably a little bit outdated at this stage, but the last ones I saw was that there's about 800 people using ChatGPT monthly. And I think I saw something last weekend whereby it said it was actually gone to 600 weekly, 600 million. So the big investors in ChatGPT are Microsoft, and it also powers Copilot and Bing. The other big ones are the Meta AI assistant, so Llama. So that has about 600 million users monthly as well. The other big one is Google Gemini, which is in everyone's Google now. So there's a little, I'll show you where it is in a minute if you're not aware, but you'll also see Google AI overviews when you actually go to Google and do a traditional search. And then the other ones are, Perplexity and Claude that people seem to be using. Um, so the ones that I use a lot, I use ChatGPT a lot. I also use Gemini, just because a lot of what I do is with Google, helping people get found on Google and Google Ads and stuff like that. I also use Copilot because I use Microsoft PowerPoint and Excel quite a lot in my job. And then some other ones I use are Fireflies, which is a meeting recorder, which records all the meetings. I also use DALI. I use Notebook LM quite a bit because I like to stay up to speed. And I find it's actually great if there's a report that comes out from HubSpot or Google that might take an hour to read, I actually just upload it to LM. It gives me an audio file and I can listen to it in the car when I'm driving in and out of town, or on my way out to see clients. It's just good use of time. So I also use Perplexity, Claude. I try and use all of them, but mainly for work basis, it would be Chat, Microsoft Copilot, and Gemini. So, and every company will use its own one. But just I know we're going to talk about time saving, so I have started using Fireflies with all my meetings, and there's different, like Zoom has one. Um, there's different ones, but actually attends all our our meetings and it records and analyzes everything. So at the end of the meeting, it'll actually send a list of the next steps, which is very good. It'll also record the meeting as well, so I can go if I ever need to go back and say, okay, what did we agree there, or did we agree, X, Y, and Z? I can actually go back and do it, and that actually saves me a lot of time because when I used to finish a client meeting or um, meeting a new client, I do the meeting that might take 45 minutes and then it might take 20 minutes to write out the next steps and try and figure out what the plan is. Here I can actually copy and paste it. I can send it to the client or I can send it to whoever I need to on my team. So everyone probably has seen emails like these. So Spotify tend to send it every year and everyone's like, oh, this is the song I listen to and stuff, but actually Firefly sent one last year. So I had 533 meetings last year that I recorded. Scary amount of time that I spent, but it actually figured out that by using Fireflies that I'd save nearly 5,000 minutes over the year. So that's not insignificant. So that's estimating that I'm saving about 2 hours a week, just by using Fireflies because I've got everything there that gets sent to me within a minute or two of the meeting finished, which is great. So um that's one big time saving tip. So you can buy these. There's Fathom. I've got a few. So Zoom, Teams, Google Meet have all theirs. Fathom is another big one. So if you're doing a lot of online meetings, that's a great way to save some time. So let's just look at some use cases. But just before we do that, obviously, Chat or Perplexity or Gemini, what you put into it, the better quality that it is, and the more that you spend training it, the better results you will get out of it. So it's interesting. Andre, who's director of AI at Tesla and works with OpenAI as well, he said the hottest new programming language is English. So it's actually being able to tell ChatGPT or Gemini what you want. And for those using chat, I don't know if you've downloaded the app, but on the phone or even on the desktop, you can actually just talk to it now. So you can actually say, I want to do some research on X topic. in Ireland, can you write me 1,000 word article on what the latest trends are in X, and it'll actually come back to you. So you could be sitting in the car, you could be out doing something, you think of something, you just go into ChatGPT and just record it, just hit the little microphone button, and some people are using that rather than typing now because they're not comfortable typing, or they're worrying about how to phrase something. But if you just talk into it, it'll still do it for you, and then it'll talk back to you if you want. But you can also, when you're done, you can go back in and you'll have the written copy. So AI is only effective as the way you communicate it with it. So you've got to train it with better prompts, and we're going to go through a lot of prompts today. And I have a prompt guide that I'll give you a QR code for at the end if anyone wants it. But it really is about spending time thinking about how to write the prompts. So, and one thing you can do is you can actually ask ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever you're doing. Actually, ask it to help you write the prompt. So, you know, better prompts that you give it, the more useful answers you're going to get. So you just need to think about the topic, the goal, and what chat can do, because if you set it up most of the time, you'll get good stuff back. So you can actually ask ChatGPT, for help in crafting the prompt. So we're going to send all these charts out actually at the end, right, Kieran? So we're going to send the PowerPoint deck around. So
Yeah, yeah, we'll send it right
sorry,
afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll get these. So, you can, enter your prompt. So what other details do I need to provide ChatGPT to ensure maximum success? So, that's kind of thing. So I just said, look, I want to write a prompt asking ChatGPT to create an email notifying a customer that their warranty for a product is no longer valid. What other details do I need to provide ChatGPT to ensure maximum success? So ChatGPT comes back and says, to ensure maximum success, you should include the following: the name, their email address, name of the product, its model number, the reason why, the tone, and any specific instructions. So then I just went back and said, look, write an email to a customer called tone and style should be fresh and clear. The email should explain why their coffee machine no longer under warranty because it, came through an unauthorized dealer. We're sorry, blah blah blah. And then it actually writes a really good email that you can just copy and paste and send back to to your customer. So, it's just think about the prompt that you're going to ask, and ask ChatGPT to help you, or say to ChatGPT or Perplexity or oh, what else do you want from me? Um so growing your business. So how can chat help you grow your business? So obviously it can't go out and do the sale for you, but it can help you identify leads. It can help you do research. It can help you write presentations, emails, everything like that. So in ChatGPT, and this is in the others as well, if you go to this plus button, there's a thing called deep research. So on the free version, you only get 5. On the paid version, I think I get 25. But this will actually take a lot of time to think and use what you're asking. Sorry, I can't find the screen name. So I've just asked it here, write an in-depth analysis of the Irish promotional products industry, include an overview of current trends, challenges, and opportunities, incorporate relevant data and statistics, etc., etc. I'm just going to put that into my free version of chat. I'm going to ask for deep research. So it comes up as research, and I'm just going to, actually, I just know to type it out, industry. And I'm just going to let that so it's actually come back and it's asked me some questions. So are you targeting B2B? So I'm just going to write B2B. Um, all industries, Irish-based companies. I'm going to say 2-year time frame. Yes to all on Q5. And then I'm just going to send that off. So it's actually starting the research. So this isn't going to come back to me. So I'm hoping I'm going to let this run in the background, and hopefully it'll be done by the end of the presentation, and we can come back and have a look at it. So that's one way. So if you're researching a new industry or you've got a new client in a new industry, it's a great way to try and get research done quickly. So that's a great one. So deep research, so you get 5 with the free version. I think you get 25 with the paid version. Um so if you're brainstorming, if you're sitting there with a blank piece of paper and you're sitting there for more than 2 minutes, I'd be going on to ChatGPT or whichever AI tool you're using and just say, look, can you give me ideas for format about whatever subject, perhaps covering whatever topic? Just give it some things. So, like, here's some examples. So, can you give me ideas for a webinar, for a networking event that small business owners whose companies is between 1 and 25 people may face? We want to invite specialists to offer help. Some ideas could include payroll, grants, lending. It could be digital marketing, it could be HR, could be training, could be anything like that. So, or, another one could be, can you give me ideas for a series of blog posts about best business practices for members that provide value to their small businesses, 1 to 25 people? And it'll come back, you know, you can say, provide me 10 blog posts or 5 blog posts. You might like one, you might like any, but you can go back and tell it, look, I like numbers 1 and 5. Uh, but I prefer if they were this way, can you take that feedback on board and, produce another 5 for me? And it's an iterative process. So it's a bit like working with you know, maybe with a new person who's come in with college. You've got to give it very um, clear guidelines on what you want. And the clearer the guidelines are, the better the output that you will get. Um, so, using a step-by-step plan. So, again, I need to do my marketing budget for next year. Can you provide step-by-step instructions on how to create a marketing budget? And I'll actually come back and say, look, these are the 10 steps that you need to do. What did you spend last year? How much do you think you've got in the budget? How much do you want to grow by? It might even come back and say, look, the average company in your industry spends 10% of their budget on marketing or something like that. If you're starting your business or you're looking at starting a new business or you just want to upgrade your business plan, can you provide a step-by-step instruction on how to create a business plan? But if you actually provide it with your old business plan, you could say, look, here's my first draft. This is who I'm trying to target. I want to target Dublin, B2B customers, etc., etc. That'll give you much better product and output. Another one would be, can you provide a step-by-step instruction on how to create a professional sales presentation that should last no more than 5 minutes and explains why clients choose us over X company? So, you can tell it. The more you tell it and the more that you upload to it, the more it'll learn about you and your business and what you're trying to do. And I'll show you some ways how to do that as well in a minute. So developing buyer personas. So when I go talk to new clients, I always talk to them about, well, who's your target customer, or, how many different targets do you have? And a lot of them will kind of look at me and go, everyone, or they might, say, I want females or males. The more you understand about your buyer persona, um, the better you can target them with, ads, social media posts, stuff like that. So, examples here could be, can you create a detailed buyer persona for someone who's 25 years old and interested in health and fitness? So, if you're in the health and fitness industry or nutrition, then you could say, look, what is it for a 50-year-old male, et cetera, et cetera. Another one could be, can you create a detailed buyer persona for someone who is 65 years of age and interested in cruises or interested in, downgrading their house or something like that. And it'll actually come back and it'll give you pretty good personas. Again, you can modify them and then you can download them and then you can actually, again, tweak them a little bit. And you can tell them when if you go to ChatGPT and want them to help you write blogs or social media posts or whatever like that, you can say, look, I want this to be targeted at persona one or persona two, and it'll give you much better output. Again, it's all part of training it. So being more efficient with your time. So some practical. So I already talked about fireflies. Sorry, just before I jump into this one, I just want to see how our okay, so that's still thinking. So we'll just let that run in the background. So this one's on being more efficient with your time. So I don't know about everyone here, but I find that I can spend a lot of time trying to figure out the wording of emails because you want to make a good impression, you want to keep your customers happy, your prospects happy like that. So you can actually write the bones of an email, and then you can actually say to chat here, rephrase the following with the desired tone or text. So I've kind of said, rephrase the following message in a concise and professional tone. And I've given it I'm reaching out to discuss our meeting at 2 p.m. due to schedule conflict with other projects. Apologize for the inconvenience, but I won't be able to attend. Can we move it to another day, perhaps? Or you can say, rephrase the following email in a professional tone, kind of thing. But as you train it and it gets used to your style of writing, and maybe you train it about, your different customer types, your clients, you can actually just copy and paste in the email and say, how would you respond to this email? I want to have the following 5 points included, and it'll do a lot of that for you. So responding to customer reviews, so the dreaded someone gives you bad Google business review or Trustpilot or something like that. So you're kind of like, oh God, now I've got to deal with this. But actually, just go to chat and just go, look, act as a customer service professional that works for whatever type of company you are, and provide a response to the following feedback in, again, tone, and then insert the review. So, an example there would be act as a customer. Sorry, just let someone else in. Act as a customer service professional that works at a boutique hotel and provide a response to the following feedback in an empathetic tone. And then you can just insert the review. Act as a customer service professional that works at a family-owned bakery and provide a response to the following feedback in a appreciative yet modest tone. Insert review, and it'll come back and it'll give you a response. And you can reword it. You can tell chat what you like. I don't like this sentence. Replace it with this, etc., etc. And if you keep on doing those on the same line, it will eventually get to know your style. And sorry, these don't all need to be negative. You should always reply to good reviews as well. So 5-star reviews, Google keeps an eye on that to make sure that you're replying. You can also use it, then you might have, a month or two's worth of Google reviews. So depending on your business, you might have 20, 30 reviews. You can actually then use that to, say, okay, well, look at all my Google reviews for the last 6 months and tell me what customers think about me. And it'll actually come back and summarize it. And then that might give you some ideas about, why people are coming back or why they're leaving your business, depending on what industry you're in. So the next one is producing executive summaries. So again, you can use it if you're writing a report for a client or you've seen a report that, maybe, the government's produced, or there's an in-depth article on something to do with CRM or something like that. You can actually just say, look, can you create an executive summary for the following document and just include it? So the one I just included here was someone was asking me about some HubSpot information the other day and trends and inbound marketing trends. So I found this report that was about 250 pages long. So I actually just put it into chat and I just said, here, listen, can you go in and use just give me an executive summary? And it produced a 2 or 3 page document that just gave me an overview. So it's a good way again on just saving time. And then if there's something in there that's of interest, I can just say, I can go in, highlight that piece and say, ask GPT the way it comes up in the window. And you just say, what page or what pages did you get this information from? And I can go and do a bit more of a deep dive. So, when you're setting up the framework, depending on what you're writing at. So we said, act as a customer representative, act as a salesperson and stuff like that. People who were on the last call earlier in the year, so I talked about this ACE prompt framework. So act as X, context, and enhance. So the more that you tell chat about, the way you want it to act, the better it will be. Give it the context. So what are the tasks that you wanted to do? And then just enhance it as, is there something else you wanted to include? What sort of output do you want? Do you want bullet points? Do you want a paragraph? Do you want a white paper? And then tell it what tone of voice. So is it professional, casual? Is it direct? And then, short, concise, etc., etc. So that's always a good way to do that. So an example of that would be act as a customer service professional that works for a 5-star hotel and provide a response to the following feedback in a professional tone or something like that. So here, act as a customer service professional that works at a family-owned bakery and provide a response to the following feedback in a pursuit of modest tone. So you can set those up. So so that's kind of the hints and tips on the prompt. A couple of other bits and pieces you can do in your settings. You can actually go in and you can actually tell it about what you want and how you want to do it. So let me just go back to chat. Okay, so my report has been run.
Just to remind people as well, if anybody has any questions, if they could pop them into the chat, and we'll save the last 15 minutes from about 10:45 to 11 for questions that people can ask Richard. Thanks.
Yeah, perfect. So if you go to settings, you can go in here, general, but you can go into personalization and you can actually go in here and give it custom instructions. So for me, I'd be saying, look, I'm a digital marketing AI consultant based in Ireland. These are the services that I provide, Google Ads, SEO, AI consulting. I want all my emails to be in British English. Sorry, not all my response to be in British English. I prefer a direct professional approach, etc., etc. And you can go in and tell it about who you want, what your occupation is, more about you, memory, what you want to save, and you can go into advanced. So you can tell it this is what I wanted to search. You can also connect apps, so you can give it access to your Google Drive if you want. Make sure that there's no proprietary information in there. I wouldn't have any client data or stuff like that. You can give it access to your Microsoft OneDrive and stuff like that. So, some people are starting to give access to their Google Analytics and their Google AdWords and stuff like that, so it can help them do that. The other thing is you can go to the GPTs. So there's all this basically a GPT store. It's a bit like the App Store, stuff like that. And you can actually go in and these are the ones that it's saying. So the top picks, what's trending, astrology, Scholar GPT. There's apps for writing, there's productivity, there's research and analysis. But basically, you can search it. You could say, say you want to do something for marathon training or something like that. And then it'll come back with these marathon coaches. You know, you're better trying to pick ones whereby you see lots of other people have used them. Um, and it's a good way to just try and help you do it. I'm not going to go into it today. You can also create your own chat GPTs. If anyone's interested in that, let me know and I can give you a bit more information on that. But just on creating your own chat GPTs, we've created some of our own chat GPTs. So I'm just going to go to my GPTs. So I've got a HubBot sales assistant, so I can go in and do that. I've got a sales one. I've got sales handling, but I've also oh, I can't find it here now. Let me. So I have a discovery call chat. So if I'm doing a new discovery call with the client, so I just go in and say, actually, so can you give me the company name, the website, the contact name, and stuff like that? So let me just grab one I've done before just to save time. I actually can't find one. So let me just say company name. This company I was talking to the other day, Firm Steel. Um, contact name, BMP, focus area. So they want to talk to me about custom GDP development. Uh, so the industry is steel production. I'm just going to give them their URL. Phone is professional. Now, usually I would spend a little bit longer um, doing this. I just want to tell them they're based in Dublin, Ireland. So that's literally all I'm going to tell. Now, this is not an good example of a detailed prompt, but so it starts searching the web, and it comes back and it just gives me a company snapshot, firm trading, their steel stockholder, they provide value, their size and structure, where they're located, observations and opportunities, contact name. Um, I didn't give them the full name, so they can't find the LinkedIn. And then it just gives me like some questions that I should be asking, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, we created that GPT because we do lots and lots of these calls and there's lots of repetitive information. That's a great way for us. That saves me half an hour's research before I go and meet the client. So, I can spend a couple of minutes just getting to know them. And, that's just a discovery call. So that's just the start call. And that helps me get a good understanding. If they qualify as a good lead, then I'll spend a bit more time delving into how we can help them and stuff like that. But, 40 to 50% of those leads, I'm going to disqualify anyway for one reason or another. So it just helps me speed up the process. So that's just one of the tools. We've got different ones whereby, you can actually put the transcript in and it'll of the discovery call and we'll come back and, you know, give you an overview of the meeting and actually start to do the deck for you and stuff like that. So that's really handy as well. So we're not going to have time to share that today. So just AI is really good. There's lots of things you can do with it. There's lots of things you can do with creating your own GPTs, but there is some challenges. So there's a lot of unrealistic expectations. So I think it was IBM or one of those big companies came out and actually said that 80% of AI projects failed in the first year or two, and it was just because people didn't have the right expectations uh, matched and specced out. So you need to actually have a real deep think about what you want to do if you're going to develop something. Lack of skilled professionals, so asking the right prompts. So hopefully everyone's in a better position. Inadequate data, so a lot of times people don't have the data to try and base it on, and just lack of AI governance. So it's bigger companies now are saying, look, we only want you to use Copilot, or we don't want you to use AI at all, or there's different streams in it and stuff like that. Um, so if anyone wants to do a free preliminary AI business assessment, just scan the QR code and drop me a note on the form at the bottom of that page and just say, I'd love to do a preliminary AI business assessment and maybe how we can use AI better to help our company. So the other AI services that we provide, so we do AI consulting, just helping people figure out how to integrate AI. We do a lot of training and workshops just on helping people understand, what they can do and how they can benefit from it. And obviously we do presentations and webinars like this. So a few other helpful resources. So I mentioned we've got a chat GPT book and we've got a prompt book. So if anyone wants that, again, just scan the QR code and drop me a note, or there are my details anyway. We're going to send these charts out to you anyway. So the summary: pick your new AI companion. So it sounds as if most people have already picked it, and that most people are using ChatGPT, and try and use it as much as possible. Obviously, the way we're working and how we create value is changing significantly, but it really is about writing the right prompts and making sure that you're asking for the right way. Um, it's not an IT project. It's about changing how we work. It's not supposed to replace people, though it probably will. Particularly in the fields that the people who create it in coding and stuff like that, but it will change the way it works. It makes it more efficient, can help us have more thinking time. Education and enablement is key. And if you don't want to use it, make sure someone in your company is using it so that they can help you grow. So we kind of call them AI Sherpas, so people who can kind of try and lead the organization through it. So that's all from me, Kieran. So Q&A.
That's great, Richard. Thanks very much.